Hello there, everybody. I am so glad that you are here for my free mini training on toilet training. I'm going to give you a bunch of tips tonight that hopefully you can walk away with some ideas, even if your child or student is maybe not quite showing readiness signs. And we'll talk about that too. But first, I'm going to introduce myself for those of you that maybe don't know me yet. My name is Tara Tuchel, and I create activities and resources for parents and educators of young children with autism. And I'm so glad to be here tonight to just share some things that have worked for me over the years with potty training. I know it's a huge deal, and parents often right away at 4 years old and in early childhood really want ideas for how do we work on potty training. So let me know in the comments where you're watching from. At least it's not snowing here in the Wisconsin/Minnesota border area today. So we're hoping for some spring weather ahead. Let me know where you're watching from, how you are going to use this. Are you a parent? Are you an early childhood special educator? Are you a speech language pathologist? Hi, Letty. I'm not sure if it's Letty or Lady. Letty, I'm going to go with that. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, Lena from New Jersey, Michelle from New Orleans, Shannon from Massachusetts. I love seeing people from all over the country and all over the world coming together for these strategies because we are all in this together. Like I said, we're one big team and we have the same goals. So I'm happy to share some of the things that have worked for me tonight, specifically with potty training. For some reason, I have become known as the person to go to for potty training social stories. And it just makes me laugh because it's not something I set out to do or be. But I've actually enjoyed making really individualized social stories for kids using favorite characters and stuff. And so I'll start out with a little story. I had autistic twins years ago in my classroom, and they both loved country singers so much. And they started learning everything through country singers. Like, we discovered they could read by putting out pictures of country singers and then the written names of the singers, and they would match them. Even though they couldn't say them verbally, they could match the written name to the picture. And so I thought, well, heck, if they are able to do reading and writing and all this stuff through country singers, let's write a little story about country singers using the potty. And it was so successful, I couldn't even believe it. Like, sometimes, as a teacher, sometimes things take a while to work and a while to click. Well, with these boys, I believe they were in second grade, and so their mom was really like, I really want them potty trained. And so it was a focus of ours. And so I wrote these stories. And at the time, it was years ago, I didn't have really cute clip art. And so I used the board maker picture from the waist down, showing a boy peeing in the potty. And from the waist up, I did Google Images, and I found pictures of country singers. And so the story said, Willie Nelson pees in the potty, Brad Paisley pees in the potty. And it was so funny. We laughed so hard, but the boys, the minute they saw that book, they were like flipping through the pages. They loved it. They were eating it up. And that day they peed in the potty for the first time. So using those special interests is something we'll talk about here when I go through 10 tips for toilet training. Hello, Emma from Ireland. I can't believe you're awake for this. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, I am going to get started with my 10 tips here. And hopefully you will be able to take away something that will work for you and your child or your student. So starting out, a lot of times I hear, like, my child or my student is not showing readiness signs yet. So they may be some of those typical readiness signs, like staying dry for longer periods of time, or going over in the corner secretly to poop in the diaper. So if they're not showing any of those yet, there are still things you can do. And if you think of like all the steps and you break down all the steps to potty training, you really need to start working on some of them ahead of time so we don't have to hit them with all these different steps at the same time. It's not like, oh, okay, now they can do this and boom, we're going to just bombard them with everything, right? So let me know in the comments, do you have a student or a child that maybe isn't showing readiness signs, traditional readiness signs yet, but you want to know, yeah, I want to know where to start with them. So I'm going to start with the first strategy here. Tip 1, practice sitting on the toilet. So this is one step that can be difficult because a lot of our students and autistic children really like routine. And by going in and sitting on a toilet, you're starting a whole new routine. And we'll talk about the sensory piece in a couple more tips here. But for one, going in to the bathroom for a purpose, okay, we're going to sit on the toilet, that is a first step. So if you don't do anything else, just build that into the routine. So, and if you have a child that's really, really strict with their routine or doesn't like change, build it in. So like after snack time or after dinner, we go in and we sit on the potty. Now, at first, this can be hard. I've had a lot of students who really do not want to sit on the potty for any amount of time. And I'm not talking like we need to sit on the potty for 20 minutes or while watching a cartoon. Like we're going to start really small with showing the picture, which we'll talk about. Showing the picture, okay, time to go in the potty. And we're going to go in, we're going to sit, 1, 2, 3, and you're done, right? That's all it is. If you do that for 4 times a day, for a month straight, it's gonna become routine. And you may feel like, well, we're not making any progress on potty training because they're not peeing in the potty. They maybe don't even know what you're asking them to do eventually. But you're building that routine several times a day of, I go in the bathroom, I sit on the potty for 1, 2, 3, and then I'm done. And as that starts to become routine, you can start to expand the amount of time that they sit there. So then maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe you have a visual that shows them, like you can write it on a Post-it. Okay, today we're going to count to 10. If they're at the point where you think they can handle that counting to 10. We really want it to be successful. We don't want it to be stressful. So we'll talk about social stories too, but you can break these steps down. So wearing underwear, this is its own story. Not just the whole potty sequence, but just wearing underwear, just sitting on the toilet. And so if you're at this first step and you go, okay, this is the little baby step that I want to start with because my child isn't really showing readiness skills, but we're going to just work sitting on the toilet into the routine. You need to decide then too, are you just going to work on sitting on the toilet? Or are you going to also work on like pulling down pants, pulling down underwear, sitting, pulling them up, that part of the routine. So decide what's right for you. But this story is just the steps to sitting on the toilet. So I'm going to show you here. So it's time to sit on the toilet. First, I can go in the bathroom. Now, sometimes that's the struggle, just going in the bathroom. And then it talks about pulling down pants, pulling down underwear, sitting. And at this point, if you're just working on sitting on the toilet, I wouldn't even worry about, they're not peeing or pooping in there yet anyway, so I wouldn't even worry about using toilet paper or flushing or that kind of stuff. We're simply going to sit and then pull up pants and underwear and leave. One thing, if it is difficult or scary to go in the bathroom, it's okay to let them hold a toy. Okay, we're going to go sit on the potty for the count of 3, and you can bring your car, and they can hold it. 1, 2, 3. All done. They can hold their car while they're on the toilet. It's fine. Melissa asks, is this being recorded for later viewing? Yes, it is. So you can watch the replay whenever, as soon as I'm done. Okay, so sitting on the toilet. So that's your first step. Now, you probably want to have some visual supports to go with it. So that could be reading the story beforehand, or it could be just simply having a visual sequence for sitting. So you can see this doesn't have the whole sequence because all we're working on is sitting. So pants down, underwear down, sit on toilet, underwear up, pants up. And you can add in wash hands if you want to. If that's a struggle, don't do that yet. Do it later and just take this off and only do that part. And so what you'll have to decide too is, are they able to pull their pants down themselves, underwear down themselves, or do you just do it at this point so it's not another hurdle? You don't want anything else that's going to cause stress or issues. So for some kids, it might be you guys go in there, you show them this, you do the pants down, underwear down for them. They sit on the toilet for the count of 3, you help pull up the pants and underwear. Then as they get better at it, you can start working on some of those dressing skills in addition to sitting on the toilet, right? Oh, Shannon says, we have that visual sequence strip in our bathroom. Sometimes it's in my bathroom too because I'm taking pictures of it, and my teenage stepsons and my fiance go in and are like, what is that in there for? So they know all about the potty training strategies and tips. All right, so I'm going to go on to the next one. So tip 1, practice sitting on the toilet. Tip 2 ties into that. Use a visual sequence to show the toileting routine. And like I said, you might start with just a really simple one for sitting, and then you might move on to a bigger one that has the entire sequence. Sorry, I'm trying to show this to you on here. So pants down, underwear down, sit on toilet, pee in toilet. I had so much trouble finding clip art that really showed kids like peeing in the toilet and stuff, that I had this clip art custom made so that I said, my students need to see. Sometimes they think, oh, I'm sitting on the toilet, that means I'm peeing. No, we need to be much more concrete. Show the pee going in and show it's yellow. Okay, that's peeing in the toilet. This is what we want you to do, right? So then get the toilet paper, underwear up, pants up, flush toilet. We will talk a little bit about flush toilet when we talk about some sensory issues that may be a barrier for that piece. So use a visual sequence, and you can put whatever you want on that. I have a free one. It's shown in this, see which way I can point, in this picture here. And it has all the steps you need to mix and match. You can cut them apart and glue them on. Here I just did it on a colored file folder, so it was a little sturdier. So everything you need will be in that freebie, and I'll post it when I'm done here. I'll post it in the comments for you. So be sure to implement a visual sequence. Oh, Michelle just said, where do you get the charts? Okay, I will definitely make sure these are all posted and labeled in the comments, so come back afterwards and I will do that. All right, tip 3, and this is an additional one. Even if your child is not showing readiness signs yet, you can start wearing underwear with favorite characters, like fun underwear, over the pull-up or the diaper. Now at first, if they've been wearing, if they're 4.5 and they've been wearing the diaper pull-up for a long time, they might resist because this is a change in routine. So starting with something they really like would be helpful. Just know that once you kind of get over that barrier, and it just made me think, I should really write a social story for you guys about wearing underwear over the pull-up. But you could just use wearing underwear, and that would be okay too. So here it just talks about people wear underwear, most people, because our kids are literal, and we'll just say most people wear underwear, right? Boys wear underwear, girls wear underwear. So you can kind of read a story like this and show them like, okay, I'm gonna wear underwear too. Now, if you start wearing them over the pull-up, it's one step closer. It's one of those baby steps. Because let's say they're showing readiness signs, but you haven't done something like this, and then they may hit a point where they're like fighting putting the underwear on, and you're like, oh, they're so close to being potty trained, because I can tell they're holding the pee. But then a lot of times if kids continue to wear diapers and pull-ups when they're at that I'm ready phase, they'll just do what's normal for them and comfortable and pee in the pull-up and diaper. So just the act of putting on underwear over the pull-up is huge. Eventually, when you have kids that are really becoming more ready, you might want to reverse it and do the underwear under the pull-up so they start to feel some of the wet. Because pull-ups and diapers are so good now, kids don't feel it. They don't feel, unless they're really soaked, they don't feel it. And that kind of can hinder potty training too. So, underwear over the pull-up just to start getting in that routine and getting used to it. Okay, tip 4. I kind of talked about this a little bit, but watch for some of those sensory issues, right? A lot of our students and children will have issues with the sound of the flushing. So in my class, if we have a student like that, where they don't even want to come in the bathroom because they're already going like this and they're nervous and anxious about it, you can make a picture that says no flush and just reassure them, like, we're not going to flush it until you're out. And so there's some kids, it's okay. They'll learn flushing later when they're older, when they can handle it better. I think sometimes we get caught up on like, well, they have to learn to flush. And it's like, all right, but they're just learning, and our main goal is to pee or poop in the potty. And if they don't flush right now, I don't care. We will tackle that later. It's a small problem. Am I right? Small problem. I'll flush for them after they're out of the bathroom. Another thing you could do is talk to your OT about different ideas, like wearing the noise blocking headphones. And so you could do a little story about, once they're used to it, okay, we can try flushing with the headphones on and see if that works as a strategy. But again, like from my perspective, I'll flush for them. It's okay for now. The other sensory thing you might encounter are like the legs hanging down on the toilet. So the toilet's high, and I think kids, especially if it's an adult-sized toilet, which you're going to encounter when you're out in the community or wherever, but that feeling that they get of like, I'm going to fall in, even when the toilet's smaller size, it's still, you're sitting over a bowl of water with a big gap, and that can be really scary, frightening, cause a lot of anxiety, and we need to honor that and recognize it and be like, all right, we're going to come up with some strategies to help. And one of those can be just something simple like having a stool under their feet so that their legs aren't hanging down and they don't feel so unstable. And like I said, if you have an OT that's really good with sensory issues, like definitely talk to them about that, and they could probably come up with more strategies to help the child feel more stable and secure and not as scared when sitting on the toilet. Imagine if you were on a toilet that was like way too big of a size for you. Like, that'd be pretty scary actually. So that feeling of falling in is not good. If you're a woman and you've ever accidentally almost sat in the toilet with the toilet seat up, that's probably how they feel. It's terrible. So, all right, so that was tip 4. Tip 5, show your child a picture, show your student a picture of the toilet every time that you go in to use it. And we're doing this because a lot of times our students don't have the language to let us know, I need to go to the bathroom. And so a lot of times it will start with, it's kind of 2-part. First of all, back to the OT piece, it's hard for a lot of kids to sense that they have to go ahead of time. And then to be able to use language to communicate that is really hard also. And so if we're just kind of modeling and showing, and again, getting in that routine of, okay, we're going to go potty. And you might have, you could get a cup, a plastic cup in there and tape this to it. And then have a whole bunch of these ready to go wherever you are, in your pocket, all around your house. And anytime that you're going to go to the bathroom, even if they haven't indicated that they have to go, and you're initiating it, okay, we're going to go potty, help them carry it to the point until they can do it themselves. And that is part of the routine. It makes it visual, it makes it predictable, and it structures it up a little. So you're going to eventually want them, you'll give this to them, okay, we're going to go potty, and then they'll carry it. And when you get in the bathroom, what do? They put it in that cup. And that routine, after you've done it enough times, is going to click like, oh yeah, I know what to do with this. And this gets you there. I love it. Lachey says, I have almost fallen in, LOL. Yes, totally. I think most women have been in that situation. And we're usually not smiling about it. So anyway, practice using this. Much like a child that's, let's say they know how to use the bathroom, they may use a picture like this out of their textbook to communicate. So it's that bridge for communication, and then it also gives that predictability. All right, halfway there, you guys. Tip 6. Now, I have talked about this a little bit already, but use social stories. They can be individualized social stories, which are what social stories truly are. They're individualized stories about a situation. The stories I write are like social stories, but they're more broad. And so you might want to add in some more personal information about the student. So again, you can have a story simply about wearing underwear. You can have a story about sitting on the toilet and just that part of it. Then you can have a story about using the potty to pee. And so this one has the pants down, underwear down, and then you can say you can sit on the potty or you can stand. And so that's another consideration. A lot of young kids, we start with sitting because it's easier and it gives a little more control over where the pee is going, right? So sit or stand, and then simply pee or poop in the potty. And I'll have you know, I got this picture right here custom made because I could not find a picture of poop in the toilet. And how do you explain to a child, an autistic child, poop in the toilet without showing an actual picture of poop in the toilet? So anyway, so that story is about using the potty. And then this one is specifically about pooping. So we have a lot of kids that will make progress through sitting on the toilet, dressing, undressing, peeing in the potty. But then when you get to the point of pooping, it's really difficult. And this can be due to GI issues. A lot of people with autism have GI issues, and it kind of messes it all up. So a lot of times people will have to use these strategies, but when it comes to poop, they might have to consult a doctor or even an OT to kind of talk about some of those issues. But sometimes it is also fear of, like, we don't know what we're supposed to do, or it's scary. It's scary to poop in the toilet. And so this story addresses, I'll read some of it to you if I can manage my screen and looking at it. But it just says, I'm learning to go poop in the toilet. I used to poop in my diaper, pull up. Now it's time to learn to poop in the potty. And so it talks about pooping in the potty might make me feel a little scared. My mom or dad or another adult will help me, and it'll be okay. And one of the things that I want to go through, so it talks again about pulling down pants, pulling down underwear, and then when I'm sitting, I can try to push the poop out. And then this little strategy. So in these stories, you can put in a little strategy that might help. I can count how many pushes it takes to make the poop come out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it gives them kind of something to do while they're pushing. And then this is another sensory piece, and it's gross to talk about, but it's scary for some kids when they have some of these sensory issues. When the poop comes out, it might make a little splash in the toilet water. It's okay. So like just preparing them and talking about it so that we're not super anxious. Shannon says pooping is our big struggle right now. Probably more OT related, won't sit to poop. Totally. I mean, sometimes it just takes a long time to add the poop piece in. And then with wiping, an adult can help me wipe if I don't know how to do it yet. So a lot of kids, when they start out, any kids, they need help with that. So anyway, that's the I can poop in the potty story. So these stories can help. You can read them like at any time, just like you'd read any other story, to kind of prepare and do it when everyone's in like a happy state, not an anxious state. So just going into the bathroom, if it's hard or scary, the anxiety might be going up, and it's really hard to be taking in a story when that's happening. So sometimes these stories are maybe read before, and then you can use like the visual sequence to prompt while you're in there, because then you're not giving as much language during the process. All right, tip number 7. Lena says my son will sit but not poop. All right, so try a story, and sometimes you have to catch kids. And okay, this is a weird story, but it has worked for a couple kids in the past, so I thought I better share it just in case. So we had a student that was showing all the readiness signs for pooping in the potty. He was able to pee in the potty and do all of that really reliably, but pooping in the potty was an issue. And he would go over and poop in his diaper, and he'd be kind of like go over in a corner, and you could kind of see like, oh, it's happening. And so what we did was cut a hole in the bottom of the diaper, like where if you sit, there'd be a hole like under where the poop would come out. And so then he went to squat, and we said, oh, bathroom. And we went in and we sat him on the toilet with his pull-up on. And he thought he was pooping in his pull-up, and he actually pooped in the potty. And then he could see what he was supposed to do. We said, oh, look, you're pooping in the potty. And that was enough for him to get over the hump. Now, not saying to do that with everybody or that would work with everybody, but it was a strategy that has actually worked a couple times. It's pretty funny. Okay, tip 7, take some data. Those of us in education always love some good data, and it's because we know if what we're doing is working or not. So it's really important to take some data if you feel like you're hitting a roadblock. And I have, some of you may have this already, it's free. I have a free, I'm going to hold it up in front of my face, a free toilet training tracking little mini book, little packet. And so in here, it just has like this graph where you can track sitting on the toilet. All right, so, and it has like a little key at the bottom to tell you what to write. So you can track, when you go in and you practice sitting on the toilet, you can track, okay, on Monday, he went in 4 times and he was able to sit for the count of 3. And then if you track that every day, you could see maybe in a week, like, oh, now he's sitting to the count of 5. You guys, that's progress, right? I mean, we all want potty train in a week, or, the headlines, I'll get you potty trained in 3 days. But it's a lot of times with autism, it takes longer. And so if you're able to keep track and take data, when you have these little baby steps, you can really celebrate those successes. Like, what we are doing is working. He could sit for 3 seconds. Now he sits for 10 seconds. That's huge, right? And then there's tracking sheets too for just tracking once you start having kids when they're peeing in the potty and stuff like that. So tracking when their diaper's wet and that kind of thing. So you'll see it in here. The other thing I just added, so if you have already downloaded this, go back and do it again, because I have some new things added. So one is the toilet training steps and skills. So when you're like, I don't know where to start, my kid's not showing readiness skills, my student's not showing that, okay, these are all the different things you could do. Pick one, right? So one might be pulling their pants down. So when you go into the bathroom, can they pull their pants down? Or just sitting on the toilet? And you can keep track. And as they learn each skill and master it, or are pretty reliable with it, you can put an X on there, like, I did it. And the goal is to fill in for us all the X's on there. There's also a sheet that just kind of has a planning aspect where you could do that with your family or with your school. And so it just says, which toileting skills is my child or student already showing? Okay, you know what? He can pull his pants down by himself. Well, when? There's one piece, because you saw that list. There's a whole bunch of steps. So we just need to keep kind of pecking away at each step, at each little skill. The second area to brainstorm, okay, which toileting skills are lagging right now? Which ones do they not have? And then the third step, what is the next baby step that I'm going to take to support them and prepare them with that skill? So if you take a look at that, that's going to help. And then I have a list of possible strategies that you can use to support them. So a lot of the things that we've talked about tonight. So don't worry, I will post all of these in the comments. Some of these resources are free, some are paid. So I'll just post them all and you can decide what works for you. All right, tip 8, use a first then board. So a first then board simply shows, okay, so we're gonna work on sitting on the toilet. All right, first we're gonna sit on the potty for the count of 3. I mean, you could even take like a little washable marker and write a 3 right on there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, yay, now you get to go play trains. And so keeping it short and sweet and offering that motivator. So it's not gonna be like, you have to sit on the toilet or you don't get your train. Like, we don't want to have that negative talk. We want to have, make it really positive, right? And then you can move on to the first then, you can move on to peeing in the potty. Then we play with the train. So first then, I love it. It really helps kids understand what's coming next. And we can go play with the train because you tried. So tip number 9, incorporate special interests. I don't have this little book right here with me to show you, but this is a freebie that I have. I will post, the last 2 weeks I've had blog posts on toileting with different strategies, a lot of these strategies, and I have freebies and other resources listed there, and this is one of them. So it's just a little story about Paw Patrol characters wearing underwear. So Chase wears underwear, Marshall wears underwear. And so incorporating some of those special interests can really be helpful. I've done stories where Santa's sitting on the potty. I've done stories where Disney princesses are sitting on the potty. So there are endless routes to go with that, whether it's just a cue card showing their favorite character or an entire story. All right, you guys, we're almost done. We're to number 10. Oop. I think that's a repeat. I messed up there. All right, well, I don't think I have a number 10. So the 10 will be ask me questions. If we don't get to all the questions live here, if you put a question in the comments, I will do my very best to be able to answer it for you, okay? But right now, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Kelsey says, she says, I need these. My son has anxiety when he feels like he has to poo. He shows signs but hides and won't let anyone near him. When we get the signs that he's ready, but he's anxious, how do we help him be agreeable when the anxiety starts even before the bathroom time? So I would start talking about it with social stories. You can start having like a favorite stuffed animal sit on the potty, and like even if you got some brown Play-Doh or something and like pretended, like that would be super fun, like acting it out. Danielle says Paw Patrol characters, this will be amazing. Kids love it, they're so cute. One of the things I love about my job is being able to incorporate those special interests and things that kids really like into all of these strategies. All right, Heather says, my son is 3. He understands the routine and says potty, but will not actually go in the potty. He sits and waits until we put the pull-up back on. Yes, this is super common. And it's what I was telling you, like, if I just show a picture of like, okay, go potty, like they think since they're sitting on the toilet that they're doing it. Like they're doing what we want them to do, right? And so when you start using pictures that show it more, and obviously if you're able to have them watch somebody else go, and read the story, it'll start over time to sink in. And with those kids, usually it's just like when it happens, when they finally do it once or twice, you're set, because it clicks and they're like, oh, that's what I was supposed to do, right? Jessica says, my 3-year-old isn't showing any signs of toilet training. He doesn't communicate any of his needs. Not sure when to try and start. Okay, so go back, if you're able to watch this again, go back to tip 1, 2, and 3. Especially tip 1, sitting on the toilet. Doesn't have to be communicating that he has to go. Doesn't have to be ready at all to pee. But we go in, we show the picture, we go in and bring something he loves with so he can hold it and show it to him on the way, like as a transition object. Okay, we're going to sit on the potty. You can hold the car. Sit down, 1, 2, 3, done. There are even kids where they're so aversive, they're so nervous about it that it would be a fight to even pull the pants down. With them, sit on it for the count of 3 with clothes on. It's okay. It takes one hassle away, takes 2 steps, underwear down, pants down away, and it's okay. Like, it's one little piece, right? My son watches everything we do on the toilet, but gets fussy when we sit him on the toilet. Does it matter whether we use potty or the real toilet? You can use a potty chair or the real toilet. Sometimes with kids like that, we might, that's where you could incorporate watching a favorite song on the iPad or looking at a book or something that takes a little longer, where they can sit and do something really enjoyable while they're on the potty. And sometimes that will help overcome that kind of fussiness or like not wanting to sit, if you pair it with something really enjoyable and motivating. All right. So you guys, thank you for being here. I'm going to go in and wrap this recording up so I can post it for you. And I'm going to go back in the comments and post all of the freebies and all the stuff that I promised you. And I hope you all have a great night. Summer vacation's getting close. And I will see you later. Thank you.